You can count me in when you're ready.
All right, we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. You good to go?
What's up, y'all? It's another episode of PoliticKen. It's kind of bittersweet, though, because it's the season finale. What a season, man. So season 2 popped off. It was really awesome because I felt like, one, we was in a new location, just different vibes. It felt more informal, but we also got to do it a little bit more often, which I love this season. And I just hope everybody tuning in can kind of like give some feedback. Y'all know I love feedback, so I need to hear how did you take season 2? But before we kick into this topic, I mean, we really don't have nothing topic specific. We about to kind of recap and see what we learned over this season, because I feel like a lot of our topics intersected, and I think we have a good group at the table that can really talk about it. But before I kick it off, I'm just going to go around the table and tell y'all who's joining me. First, I have Bonetta. Long-time mentor, intercultural A, sorority sister, and everything else. I love her, my African queen. How are you? Thank you for joining the table. Next, I have Desmond. What's going on, D?
What's up?
I like the class smiles. That's different. Desmond and I have been working at United Way. He came in through GDYT, ended up becoming a Vista for the organization, and is a mover and shaker in his own realm, has a lot I feel like he gonna offer, and y'all know how I feel about the young folks, so I'm always trying to get back and make sure that we helping them get to the next level. Also supposed to be returning to Wayne State real soon. Okay. So yeah, college students at the table, y'all better enjoy it. Those years swiftly pass. I also have my mentee, Deshanae. It's so funny because every mentee I feel like that and came to the table has surpassed me and is out here doing things bigger and better and really doing their thing in the city. I love it. Just watching you blossom and grow. I'm happy to have you at the table, and I know you're going to have a lot to share today.
Yeah.
Also, I got Miles. What's going on, Miles? Stay the look. Stay the look.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, man. Miles is doing some great things in the city right now, and I hope y'all, we got a lot coming soon. I'll let Miles, lead the way on that one, but I'm glad to be a partner, and I feel like we're going to be able to really make some stuff rock. We have a lot of the same goals and aspirations, I feel like, in this work, and I'm just looking forward to see all that you're doing. I already see little sprouts, and just glad to have you at the table.
Appreciate you.
And last but not least, I have the young bull at the table, Kalia, upcoming senior. What school you at? Tell them, Kalia.
Westside Academy.
Westside. Okay. But I'm so glad to have her joining the table because, the youth, the real young folks, okay? Desmond kind of a youth. He grown now. He grown. Kalia
I'm only 20.
is going to be the one teaching us today. And we had a guest join the table. Dia, hey, cuzzo.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Hi, everybody.
Hey. Shout out 103 over there.
Man.
But yeah, so I'm excited to kick off this conversation because this season, like I said earlier, it's been really awesome just because so many people have joined PoliticKen this go around, and I'm learning. I don't come to this table feel like I know everything. I come to the table to help me get an idea of where I should be going in my own movement because I feel like every day is changing because things change. We not stagnant in the city, and that's apparent. And I just think that more voices and more opinions and ideas are necessary for us to kind of see where we want to go. And so I just want to kind of kick it off and get y'all perspective a little bit. Every time people come, I'm like, what's important to you? Like, why? What you think you would want to talk about? We done talked about a little bit of everything this season. From education to reparations. We talked about Jay-Z last episode. We talking about finance, money matters. What is important to y'all? And what do you all think we should be really focused on going into this school year? You know what I'm saying? It's the fall time, quarter 4.
You got a certain order? Or?
Nah. It's kind of pop in where you fit in.
We just had orientation at my school. I work at ATAP, Arts and Technology in Pontiac, and the youth is very important. I feel like we bring that up a lot, but they are the ones who's going to be running the city and the state and the country and everything. So we kind of have resources, so I feel like our main goal right now should be helping these kids learn how to use the resources that they have.
I agree. Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned education. Education is always a great topic for me. I feel like college definitely opened my eyes to so many different things, and it opened my eyes into the concept of education. And so all the things that I like to talk about when it comes to learning and how learning is interconnected with living our best lives, if that makes sense. So when it comes to education, I'm not talking about being at an institution or being in school. I'm talking about learning and recommending books. And someone had a blog about how to save money for traveling. I mean, for that within itself, I consider that education as far as like learning. And I travel all the time, and of course I want to be a part of like blogs and like podcasts or any type of platform that teaches our youth how to learn when it comes to anything, even when it deals with like music, or it doesn't matter for me. So education is one of those topics that I look into, especially when I'm tuning into like PoliticKen.
I would say definitely youth in all subject matters. I mean, I'm all about health. Health is wealth, but also not forgetting our aging population as they're transitioning on, especially with our up and coming youth. Being able to bridge the gaps with the things that they may not have spoken about, those dreams that they may not have had the opportunity due to, the hands of time. So being able to connect with them to see, hey, how are we doing? And if you had one thing that we could move the needle forward, what would that be? Being that we are in an innovative time. So
Very innovative.
Absolutely. I would definitely say just pushing our youth forward and being there for them. I just left a back to school drive and just seeing all those kids and just, letting them be kids and just giving them those opportunities and those resources and letting them know, hey, you don't have to, there's so much pressure on them to have to grow up so fast and not understanding how to navigate through. I definitely want to add to that and say focusing on for our generation to help and intercede with that is being like mentors. I think having a mentor is so important, and I think if because these kids are brilliant. They really are. So to be able to talk to someone and say, hey, this is what I did. This is what I studied. This is what I didn't do. This is what I should have done. So let me show you the ropes and let me kind of be there to kind of be that liaison between parent, teacher, to kind of help you, better, your focus. So.
Yeah, it's kind of that intersection of community, right? Going back to old ways. It's crazy to me how it's like we don't have that mentality no more of the lookout, like, hey, sister, youngin, you know what I'm saying? It's like you get too close to these kids. It's kind of like, hold up, what you doing? Why you doing? You know what I'm saying? Versus us really being able to be there. And that is a place that I feel like we should get back to. Youngins, what y'all think? What y'all think is some important stuff?
I feel like what's important is my peers and the youth, me being one of them, is advocating for ourselves, learning how to actually, speak up for the things that we need and, like, understand the things that we need. Because, I mean, growing up, going to school, being told, you got to go to school to be successful. It's like, we know that, but what are the steps,
Yes.
I wasn't told when I got to college I need to be networking, I need to be talking to people, and, money management, all the different things that y'all said, like, but how do we, create our voice to speak up and say, well, this is how we do this, like, this is what we're interested in, and, like, yeah.
I think motivation, having motivation, most youth people don't have people pushing them forward to do everything, so they not prepare or anything. So motivation is the most important.
You had something?
Yeah, she brought up mentorship, and mentorship has been an amazing thing for me. I don't even feel like I heard the word mentorship when I was in high school. Like, literally, mentorship was a thing for me my freshman year in college. And then I got into mentorship, and that's how I got into writing my book and all of that other stuff. But I think it's harder for me now to mentor like students who are in high school, because I felt like I had access to the people that were in college with me. So the mentorship was kind of like, oh, just come through to my dorm, or I was an RA as well. And like, even when I had my ICA and I had my RA, it was super easy for me to, like, get connected with them. But even with me being an advocate with mentorship, I always feel like I'm not reaching the younger youth. Like, college students I felt like it was always easier for me when it came to like middle school and high school. Do I always have to come do a speech in order for me to feel like I can mentor them, And they're just hearing a speech. Like, they don't have built a relationship with me, but it's like, how can I do that?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard though, because I go out all the time. Shoot, Kalia can attest to it. I'm giving out my card every time I interact with youth, and a lot of times I feel like they scared. they're scared because they don't understand networking. They don't know really what that means, but I think that the way that we're mentoring in this fashion is you're planting that seed. Because you're going to remember that. Even if you don't use that card, you're going to remember, oh, this is what they were trying to get me to do when you actually need to start doing that. When you feel you in the space like, dang, I need to write down, I need to call them because I need that hookup for this money that I need for school right now or something like that. So I think it's the little things that we do because a lot of times I feel like young people don't take advantage of what they got. Like, it's so much access now. And Kalia hit it on the head with the motivation to just want to, like, do something different. It's just like, yo, I got it all. Yeah. But then I got to think about what was I doing at 15, 16. I wasn't taking life serious like I should have. And it's as if we coming in like, you need to be taking life more serious right now. Get it together, you know? And it's not taking away from your childhood, but it's trying to show you, like, you can really be the one doing X, Y, and Z. You can have a business. It's possible at 10. No, like 11,
for real,
12, you know?
So I think, like, the next thing, sorry that I'm talking a lot, but I think the next thing that I'm thinking about now is, because now I'm thinking back when I was in high school, and if someone came to my school to talk to me about something serious, it's like, okay, sis, wait till I get in college, you know? So how can we approach them, or how can we approach y'all where it's like a fun thing, where it doesn't seem like I'm coming to you about business or coming to you about something so serious so that you won't be scared, you know?
I feel like it's different because, again, when you said that it's somebody coming just to speak for one day, you got to be involved every day to kind of bring them in. And it's just like, I got 2 basketball players I had since 6th grade. They started a clothing line. They have parties. This is things to help them financially get through at a young age because their parents can't do for them. So learning how to run a business at that age, they don't even have to call me for anything no more. Like, I think it's going on 2 years. But just being there every day matters instead of somebody just coming in and say, hey, y'all do this, and you don't never see them again.
And young people know. I feel like young people know better than adults know who's there for them. Yeah. And they sense it. Like, I got students, I did a program probably a year ago, and it wasn't my fault that I had to leave the school. It was my job. It just changed. But it was like, they still, like, randomly, I get a Cash App request. Like, here they go. They give out I mean, but it's just the being there, and they know that they can reach out. They know if they really need you, that you will be there for them. And it is about the consistency. I think a lot of times we kind of like throw things in, but when you ain't got no consistency, it's hard for you to see that long, you know, that long-term goal because it's like you ain't really there for me, you know? So.
And I was just going to say accountability and exposure. So, you know, understanding, I'm not sure if after-school programs are still, like, happening and booming. Like,
it's happening. They're not well-attended unless it's sports.
I was just about to say, we need adults to put in the work for that. So.
Because, I mean, just building work ethic. I think I was a police cadet, you know, my yellow shirt, I think, was in middle school going into high school. And then, I mean, I had a job at 16, but just 15, 14, but just I'm not sure if those same resources and opportunity are still available or being there to, you know, help youth out and walk them through the process because 12th grade is is not the end all be all. It starts way before then. So
absolutely.
I feel like there needs to be a connection, like the resources that's already out here. Like it's a lot of after school team programs and this and that going on, or clubs you can join, or communities of people that you know you can be around. And a lot of times, I guess with finding your identity in high school, you don't know like who your tribe is. So like kind of like you say, exposing kids to more, so they like, oh, I'm interested in this, or I can do this, and also making it relatable to like what they going through with school and dealing with life. Because I had created this post about chronic absenteeism on this page that I'm doing for a campaign, and one of the students like, what if we need these 2 days to take a break and relax from all of the different stress and stuff that we going through. And it's like, wow, so, you know, what do the rest of y'all have to say about this? So it's like, I guess making it more relatable and helping them like understand that, you know, through the stress and this and that, it's like, it's goodness that's going to come out of it. Because like we'd be quicker to give up on stuff that stresses us out, to go hang with our friends and do this and do that. So if we made things like, I guess a positive space for us to like understand everything, then we'd be good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would say to add to that, with the exposure, listening to them, you know what I'm saying, really sitting down and talking to them. What are you interested in? And with the exposure piece, some of them, you know, you expose them to something that they may not even heard of or know that they might be interested in. But if you're not given that exposure, if you're stuck in this environment or you're not given the resources to say, well, have you ever thought about this, or do you know what this is? Let me introduce you to this type of topic or this type of career or, this type of sport. It could be anything. And I think going along with that, like I said, these kids are brilliant, and they will tell you they really do want an outlet for somebody to listen. They're very creative, and some of them, like I really want to do this, but I don't have the resources. I don't have the steps. So just sitting down talking to me, let's make a plan, let's make a goal, getting, vision boards together, all these organizations and programs, like you said, they are out here, but it just seems like it's that disconnect of, coming into schools, letting them know, hey, these are programs that we offer in your area, or, this is what your church offers, like letting them know. They don't know that these programs are out there for them. And also from what I've experienced lately, it seems like, they feel kind of like maybe embarrassed, or that they don't qualify, or that, they won't get accepted, or they don't know how to properly apply to something or be a part of something. And it takes away, because now they're like putting themselves in this box where they don't feel like they can reach their potential greatness. And they don't have people in their corner constantly telling them every day, you can do this. And, you are far more, brilliant than what you think. So I think all of that definitely, ties in.
And that makes me think about the community aspect, because one of the things that I do know for a fact, there's a disconnect between students being in the academic setting, in a structured environment, and then when you go back home. So it's like,
I was gonna
even when I think about youth, I can't help but to think about the family.
Yes.
Because for
That's
me,
where it
it's
starts.
like, and that's why I was saying, like, we don't have those community kind of oriented ideas anymore, because it's like, you can give all this to a young person. They mom and daddy still got to fill out that FAFSA.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or you can do all of this for this kid, but they still might go to a toxic home environment, or they can't meet ends meet. So how do we kind of like intersect? And that's what made this season so interesting, because it's like, even through this dialogue, we're not even, y'all know the questions we talking about, but it filters right through, because it's like, when you start thinking about young people, all of those things come up. It's like, what is the access that you can provide? What are the things that you can do? And so I'm thinking on a community realm, how everything intersects. Shift gears. What does action look like in these spaces of trying to help youth get to that next level? I feel like we all can kind of, I didn't expect y'all to all say youth. I'm just going to be 100. Like, I thought, but because it seems like that's a thing now. A lot of people are trying to figure out, how do we get young people access? How do we get them ready for these next steps? I mean, everything, college and career prep, we got trades coming back. What does real action, though, look like in the space of just community in general?
Off my experience, communication is probably the biggest thing. You have to reach out to these parents. You have to sit down and have meetings. It's going to be times where they don't answer the phone, but you got to make it happen. An email, a visit. My team at the school is great. Like, if we feel like we got to, and it's really showing it. Like, you have to put in a lot of work. You cannot be selfish. Sometimes we be tired when we get off work. And you taking an hour or 2 hours after your job can really help this kid make a better decision, just see things differently. We got to step the leadership up, like, honestly.
I would also say I would say looking at youth as an individual, because each youth represents a family, and each family represents a bloodline. So when you think about one youth, is one understanding what their story is, whatever resource. It's not really about what I'm providing, but it is about what they need, and what does that mean in plain terms. So if we talk about home, what does home mean to that youth? Home could be just making it safe from one block to the next block. To someone else, it's like home is, grandma and mom. Home means different things to everyone. So I think really just understanding individualize what that means to each youth, and understand what that means in context to community, because it's not a one size fit all.
When we say community, I feel like it's connecting the different institutions that I guess work along with the raising of a child or whatever.
Alignment.
Yeah, alignment.
That's been a word.
So basically, I'm working on this thing called Product of My Environment, and we are a product of our environment. So the things that we go through is what molds us and builds us. But a lot of times kids get like the bad part that's building them, and they don't have the rest of the balance to show them like, okay, through this and that, like the hardships, this is the benefit of that. Like this, you went through that, so learn from this, you know. So connecting these institutions, the colleges, the high schools, to the middle schools, to the elementary schools, to these companies and businesses out here, to the millennials, to Generation Z, like connecting and trying to find a way to like integrate all of this together and working together, like collectively, I think it'll do it.
Yeah. I was going to say, kind of going back to what you said in the beginning about the sense of community, as far as like, you know, going back to that mentality of it takes a village to raise a child, because it really does. And I think being like now closer to 30, seeing that, it's like, okay, yeah, it really does. You do need, you know, all these resources and these big moms and these aunties and that neighbor to tell you, hey, you playing outside? Okay, your mama know. Like, you need that. Nowadays, I think it's just so a defense of this is mine. And you approach a kid now, not only is the kid gonna cut you out, but the mama gonna cut you out too. So it's like, you know, understanding that, hey, I'm here to help, and, you know, I'm coming from a genuine place, right? I want to help your child. And you do have to be, as a parent, I can only imagine, you know, the things they have to be very mindful of, especially nowadays, you know, how the world, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So I think on both ends, you know, being more open, transparent, you know, what are your goals when you're with my child? You know what I'm saying? Are you being a mentor to them? Are you being this coach? What is this all going to entail? Having those open conversations and making the child feel comfortable as well. You know, it's about them. So we don't want them to feel compromised or feel like, okay, I can't talk to this person or I can't reach out. And then I think approach also is everything. It goes a long way. And like you said earlier, Kenya, kids can sense it. They know who's really there for them. They know if you just... You know, are you here at my school for a photo op for the news? Like, is this something that you're really going to follow up? And consistency is everything, and that's in any relationship. So I think if kids see that now forthcoming, you know, going into high school, going into middle school, like you said, it starts there. So that continuation of saying, oh, okay, I can do this, I can be a part of this, I can talk to these adults, and I can learn, you know, and progress as I go. So, yeah.
Are people doing photo ops?
So here's, I have kind of a challenge. I have a challenging question to all of this. So everything I'm hearing is connectivity. How do you foster that in a world today that is constantly de-stressing personal connection?
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody is, I can use my thumbs, but you put me in front of somebody, and kids today can't talk.
Yep.
They can't have a conversation.
Social media.
How do you foster those personal connections when that's being so downplayed these days?
And that kind of goes into because I was going to say, do you feel like the biggest challenge is a cultural warfare? Because we used to be more collective. We've gotten very individualistic, and I think it's because of the silo, right? It's the silo that you put yourself in. It's like, I don't have to remove this is what I know, this is what I can stay in at all times of the day. And you're actually plugged into it by the people you follow, the people you interact with, and yeah, people are doing photo ops.
Yeah.
So that's a great question. It is. I think it's harder for people to develop genuine relationships because we're dealing with a cultural warfare.
And I think of us as millennials, that question is always so funny to me, because it's like,
we right on the thin line.
We were there when it all started. So now it's like, to see it now, we're like a 10-year span. It's like, it was like a thing. You used to be like, I got to run home and get on the computer, get to Facebook after school. Now you got everything on your phone all day, all the time. And so, like you said, communication, like public speaking is #1 fear in the world. So I don't know. That's very hard.
I think it goes to that consistency. If you continue to go into the schools or talking to students, whoever you're mentoring, continue to open up dialogue and have conversation with them, and continue talking to them about social skills, and showing them the benefits of like being able to actually talk to people and go network and do what you got to do. Then I think it'll play into that.
What I've been doing too, like, we take the phones away. It's just not allowed, because again, you hide behind direct messages, you hide behind posting and all this different kind of stuff. So like, I interview kids a lot, just help them be comfortable with having different kind of conversations and doing different scenarios. Like, our school is real big on scenarios. So what if this happens? How are you going to treat this? So it helps them, get ready for the real world. If anything just pops up, they'll be all right.
That question also makes me question, what are we doing in school? Because why don't you know how to interact and talk? Like, it's certain things, like, and not to be funny, like, because clearly I got a job, right? I was excited about this job that I had. But my whole goal, like, what I had to do on my job was to go in and teach students soft skills. What are you learning from 8 to 3 that there is an outsider coming in and teach you soft skills? You get what I'm saying? Like, it seemed like these are common sense things that we got through our education. I learned how to stand in front of a class and do a speech. I learned how to do a presentation. It's some kids that ain't never had a presentation. You know what I'm saying? And you sitting in here like,
they get away without doing them.
Y'all took shit
Let's just say that.
And a lot of the presentations are, so this is part of it, is so you don't even have the teacher-student interaction, because a lot of the lesson and everything else is pushed out via their iPads and that kind of stuff now. A lot of their presentations and stuff are all done via the iPad and submitted online, and then they get critiqued and graded online without any of that one-on-one feed or one-to-class, one-to-many feedback.
wow. So it's just interesting because that pushes me to always challenge the system. It's just like, it's as if, like you're saying, you're pushing this. You're pushing it to where students can't be personable. And that's why I give millennials credit, and I think that we have an obligation to be present with students because we do have the best of both worlds. Yeah, you might have ran home to get on Crush Spot, but you also you had that phone until 9 p.m. when Ma said, hey, put it up. You know?
When I ran out of minutes.
Like, they don't even know. I just be like,
I was on a house phone, but that's neither here nor there. Those don't even exist anymore.
Grandma picking up the phone, time to get off.
Right. And they're glued. It's like they're on these phones all day, like just on Snapchat, talking to their friends all the time. And it's like, I don't know. I'm just like, I always ask people now, like my nieces and cousins, I'm like, do y'all, go to skating parties anymore, or do y'all go to like birthday dinners and sweet like, is that still?
Or just go outside and play tag.
Yeah, just the simple stuff. And it's like, and young, and it's going down like 5-year-olds have phones now, tablets, and it's just like, it's, oh my goodness, it's like, can you hold a conversation, and those skills are just, they're so important. But again, that push, like you said, for the technology is,
I feel like, one, you guys being the millennials, y'all can show us how to use our social media or be on our phones, purposely, and creating those events and stuff like that, going out to have a good time. You guys have social events where you meet up to talk to people and network. If you create things like those at skating rinks or little teen clubs and this and that, and like get into their scenes and like work with them, meet them where they at, it'll definitely be like proactive. Like,
well, this is like a great segue because we have an expert. We have an expert on the youth here. And this is what it's all about, because it is about y'all. It is about the next generation. Like, contrary to popular belief, we the old folks now in the club. You know what I'm saying? And it's getting really ridiculous at this point because we pushing 30. And at the end of the day, I want to know from the young folks, and Desmond, feel free to jump in and, assist Kalia in this, but she is the expert at the table, the youth spotlight today. Talk to us about what you think, what can benefit young people today that you feel like either doesn't exist or doesn't get uplifted in a way. Like, what could make life better for a young person?
Having more things in the city that they're interested in. They in their phones because they interested in more stuff like social media, talking to people on their phone. If they have more things, people don't go skating no more. We don't go skating.
We just passed Detroit roller wheels on the way too. Like, I used to hate that skating rink.
That was the spot.
Friday night gospel. Gospel skating.
That's where everybody linked up at to talk to each other. People, parents, and you're not going over that girl house, I don't know her parents, or you're not going here, you're not doing that. So everybody like, okay, maybe we could text over social media. We go link up at skating rink. Now, if they just had a place to link up, like me and my friends link up downtown to get away from things, like we still be on our phone. But we interact. If we just had more things to do in the city, then more people would talk to each other other than social media.
I feel like young people, in the spaces that I've been able to interact, they don't take opportunities serious, right? So just having access to this table, for instance, I feel like most young people would just look at this like, oh, this is what it is, and then they would just leave this space and nothing will follow up because there is a lack of motivation, I feel like, to to care, right? To care about your future, to care about things, because you're young. You're not necessarily in a space where you're thinking about what my life gonna look like 10 years down the line. How do you feel like we can show up better in spaces to make y'all more engaged? Because I think young people get heavy opportunities now. What's the disconnect?
Like everybody said, them showing up one time and not never coming back, them seeing someone. Maybe if y'all show up more than just one time and talk to them, like motivation is everything. Motivate them more than just one day, like come back through the week or the month. Them seeing the same person more than once can motivate them to do more.
Yeah. And like right now, I see that age, of course, is wisdom, but they don't know that. So it's like y'all not telling us y'all stories and what y'all done went through, so we don't know that we can relate with y'all.
Yeah.
So more storytelling and like talking and explaining to them like we know what y'all going through. It like that familiarity brings comfort, and then like you probably start feeling more motivated about the things that you need to do, or you wouldn't understand what you need to do. A lot of kids are encamped around their parents or whatever, their parents, taking care of them, this and that. They don't see responsibility. And then when something hit the fan, it's like then they feeling like they in shambles. But that happens to a lot of people. So if the conversation takes place more often about the different things that we actually went through instead of like our success stories and this and that, like let's have that talk.
And I think that's why it's important. Far as social media, you see a lot of wins on there. So people feel like it's all wins.
Yeah.
Like they don't see struggle. Like, and the thing is they ignore the struggle that's on social media because they just excited about seeing this person, this celebrity. And that's why we had a talk, like it's a difference between a leader and a celebrity. Like the celebrity go make everything look good. He's not here to show you everything he had to do. Right. So it's like really engaging and making sure they understand every struggle, like everything you want to do, no matter what, you're going to struggle some part, but you need to be able to handle it.
Because you could do
those conversations need to happen.
And I seen somebody recently, I can't remember who it was, but it was a post either on Facebook or Instagram, and they did just that. They went the opposite way with the post. It was like, this is what I've been through. This is why I got to this. And they told a story around it, and I'm like, that's powerful. It's just those simple things of being able to show more than just, hey, I'm doing it, I'm out here winning, I got that check, you know what I'm saying? This new car, this new whip, but 9 times out of 10, it was a lot of sacrifice, some patience, some crying, like, that happened behind that we didn't see because social media is so instant and it is there to kind of like help people feel better about themselves.
And I think what's interesting is just why isn't there a space for that vulnerability and that one-on-one connectiveness? Because I mean, the highlight reel is one component, but it's almost just like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, why don't some you feel open to just show that other side of themselves of, hey, like I'm struggling or I'm
because they not comfortable around most people. I could say, like, if most of y'all was not in here right now, I'd be all hyped up. Like, yeah, Ken, like, because I'm used to talking to Ken. So most people don't talk to a lot of people. They closed in, so they won't be comfortable talking to everybody.
So, yeah, I had a question. If we were to provide that space, let's say let's say this building right here was, like, literally the spot to come to talk about mental health failures, things that we like. Would the youth actually come there, and what will motivate them to be like this? Because I'm telling you, when I say college literally changed my perspective on anything. Remember those Saturday nights you would go to a party, and the best thing was waking up knowing that everybody wasn't getting up till like 1 o'clock to go to the caf, and everybody in the cafe having a conversation about, and it don't even be about the party, it just be about
whatever,
anything. It'd be, and like, if I linked up with you, it was like either about the event, it was about what happened at the party, it could be about anything, and it was like, the best part was actually going to the cafe the next morning to talk about anything. So I know me, like if I knew this spot was here and I could reconnect it with all of y'all, I would be so hyped to like come there. But it's like, what would motivate them to come to that space? Mind you, they're not in college yet, so they don't experience that, at least not yet. And then 2, how would they get there? Like, what would be the transportation? What can be some of the things that would provide the resources?
So asking that question and the follow-up, are there safe spaces for youth in the city, essentially, that they come and collaborate? Is that a thing?
Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, there that is a thing. You have Teen Hype in Detroit. You have the Matrix Center. you have different recreation centers where it's community. You know, people used to going to those recreation centers and stuff. To create a hub like this would be real dope. To get the students to come, like I said, come to where they at, like the music they listening to, but also let them know, like, okay, in order for y'all to really enjoy this is some responsibilities you got to take care of, or we gonna be working on you with this and that. So you got to probably sit in a 30-minute session or a workshop or whatever, and this is the incentive behind this, or tell your friends, spread the word, social media, all of that stuff. And we can have workshops and stuff going on there, and different, life building things, but also supplying a fun space like that.
What you think, Kalia? Would you come to a space like that?
Yeah, I probably would, but that don't mean everybody else will. They probably won't be interested. Most people, like, they closed in. They used to being around their people. So you say you about to bring this out, they gonna come for the food, the music, and the fun. They don't want to hear about nothing else.
So would you be able, say you come for the first 2 weeks or whatever, would you and the group be able to bring the folks out?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Starting your promoting career.
You want to be there. Because, like, that's, how I think, talking to my little brother, if, because they all have their little cliques or whatever. I think they have a clicky thing now where this is my crew. So if your crew goes somewhere, you're going to want to be there as well, because, like, you're going to feel like you're missing out. But I see a major trend. Like, there's an age gap with me and my little brother. He just turned 16. And well, that don't sound real big. But I can see, like, the difference in how we act when we were younger. Like, we wanted to play Uno. We begged our mother to go outside. Like, remember on Nickelodeon when they used to say, like, oh, we're shutting down Nickelodeon for now because we want y'all to go play outside or whatever. I don't even know if they have that anymore. We used to beg our mother to go outside. My brother, no, he would stay on the phone. Like, I could talk to him about The Office. I don't know if y'all watch that, but that's the only time, like, I can, like, really feel like I'm connecting with him. But sometimes he's just sitting there, and I'm just like, what? I'm just looking at him like, what is going through his head? And there was a conversation about that we're more vocal about mental health, like through music, the things that they listen to. Like, even my brother, there's like artists out there that talks about depression. But the question is, how are they internalizing that music? Is it that it's okay to be depressed? Or, I don't know, because even within his mannerism and his energy, I'm like, I'd be asking him, like, are you depressed? I mean, let's talk about it. He'd just be like, girl, like, why are you over here? Like, I'm just chilling, and that's what he always says. So that always confuses me, because I'm like, I even feel like I have a disconnect with my own brother based on, like, how he's grown up in, like, society.
Last question, and I'm off your back. What is it that youth want to learn about? Because for me, I think, like,
that's a good question.
Real good question.
Yeah.
There are so many things, because, I mean, you've seen it, though. You've kind of seen the work we do, like, in our work and Des, and, like, how we try to come in with all, I mean, it's so many things. We have, like, exploration stuff that we've been doing. College and career preparedness is a big thing now, so getting students industry professionals and mentors and doing, like, the whole, interviewing process. Like, those things are happening, but I still feel like there's a disconnect in what the youth actually want to learn. What is it that y'all interested in? I'm curious.
Well, because I be on social media a lot, most people nowadays are just interested in sports and music and dancing and stuff like that. Like, I go on social media and everybody on there dancing, writing their own music. So I don't really think they're interested in what y'all want them to be. And probably because they don't have experience, like, when we got the summer jobs, everybody was stepping out like, oh, yeah, you said I don't want to do that. This is not what I want to do. So they just interested in, like, little stuff, dancing, music.
So arts is a big thing for y'all. Desmond, what you think, young people? I mean, you right there on the cusp. Y'all the Generation Z.
We trying to learn how to make money for real. Like, we don't like working for other people. Like, so being an entrepreneur, being able to express ourselves and, like, create things that, like, we want and be happy with the work that we're doing. I guess that would be connecting our skills to those industries where you can profit off of yourself and create a name for yourself and brand and this and that. So, yeah.
I do realize that when that was my job, like, my job was to teach soft skills and get young people jobs. They messed with me. They like, that's the girl with the jobs. Like, we need that because you want that chicken. Right. And that's what they were attracted to. It was like, I know she about to give me some money, and not only that, this a higher paying job. I don't even got to necessarily, I got the access now. I'm downtown. And then through our program, they was getting lifts.
Oh, wow.
So they was feeling it. Like, they really, and I noticed, like, for the students that had a very good experience that summer through those jobs and having those opportunities, you can see a spark in them. You know what I'm saying? And I think that trying to understand what it is that what they want so we can meet them where they are is so important. And I think a lot of times we just try to come in and say, oh, this is what we're going to give you.
Right.
Yeah.
I also feel like we need to bridge those gaps like you were talking about. You know, you got factory workers or you have plumbers and this and that, electricians. It's a big gap in like the service workers and this and that. And it's like, okay, who gonna do it when they gone? Like, so showing kids that they have skills that can apply to those different fields, showing them how they can make money in those fields and how like, okay, it might be labor, but it's something that you can do, you can endure. Like, it's a lot of students that they probably graduated but really don't know what they're doing, and these is guys who like big and like can, you know, do some work or whatever. So it's like, okay, you can go do this masonry and make money while, you know, learning, so let me connect you to this. So connecting those networks again, like bridging those gaps and showing like where your skills might align when you feel like you don't apply to nothing. Like
I was actually go bring that up because let's be honest, a lot of kids don't want to go to college. And a lot of them are going to trades and doing things. And again, it's our responsibility to show them that you can make money this way and to teach them hard work, and everything is not going to come easy. You can be a maintenance man and start off being, you know, at the bottom and then moving up and owning your own company as, you know, having multiple maintenance people under you. So it's like just, again, having those convos and teaching them that it's not just a one-way street to making money and being successful as a person, period.
Leave us some words, Kalia, today. If you could tell us young millennials, because, you know, we ain't too old. We just a little bit older. If you could tell us anything today, what would it be?
I'm not sure. Well, this is basically on pushing right youth.
Anything.
So I would say find a group of youth kids and push them to do what they want to do. Because y'all pushing them to be working like big offices, and they not used to it. So at first, helping them find their interests and what they want and help push them forward and motivate them more.
Kalia gave ourselves and whoever is tuned in a task. You are tasked today to go and find you a group of young people, and you need to see what it is they can do and how you can help them get to the next level. And I feel like everybody in this room is already on that path. And I'm glad, you know, because I'm surrounded by some great people, and this has been a great dialogue, good shift into me saying, like I always say, I don't deal with regular people. Everybody I know doing something in my network, and it makes me feel good to be able to be joined by these people. And so right now, this is y'all opportunity, my favorite part of the show, to plug y'all selves. Let the world know who you are, what you doing. Kalia and Desmond, y'all can also plug yourselves, because I know y'all doing good stuff too. I ain't gonna put nobody under the bus though. So yeah, y'all can go in any order y'all want. Let the audience know who you are, what you doing. If it's anything y'all got coming up, feel free to let us know.
I can go first. So this is Deshanae Blades, and I am an author and award-winning speaker. I just created a platform about all of the things we were talking about today. So I am so glad that this was some great validation for the platform that I just created. And I'm going to keep calling it that because I have not released what it is. But this platform that I created is to meet the students where they are, to see what they want to talk about, be able to assist them in that way. Again, like I said, I mentored students while I was in college, and I took about 10 students, and I was just basically helping them with all the things that they needed help with, as well as like helping me grow as a leader. So I gave them like direct assistance while I was there. Again, I was a resident assistant as well. So I want to do that for my community and not just for the youth. You talked about older people. I see my parents. I don't forget. I have a talented father, and I see my mother wants to do more things. So I'm having conversations with her as well about the things that she wants to do. So I just created this platform for people just to live their best life, and just being there to provide the resources and having those conversations and see how we can elevate our lives.
And PoliticKen would love, to be a part, because,
you
we are
have no
intergenerational conversation and dialogue.
I have no idea. This conversation was validation for sure. Yeah.
All right. Who we got next?
Oh, hi, everybody out there watching and listening. I'm Dia Blackman. I am a strong, proud HBCU advocate. I have my own charity, Dia's Dials, 5 years strong. I am a new member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
103.
Native Detroiter, HBCU grad. Shout out to all the FAMU alums, HBCU grads that may be watching this show. I love my city. I love working with kids. I love to mentor, especially high school girls. That's what my passion is. I'm so thankful to be here and finally be a part of PoliticKen. This is amazing, and I'm so grateful to hear you guys' voices because coming when school starts, I'm actually going to be hosting a young entrepreneurs panel for high school kids, and I just like hearing you guys, and I'm hearing what you're saying and your ideas, so I'm so excited about that. I love Detroit so much, so I'm ready to just hit the ground running and do more things and connecting and working with people. That's my passion. That's my vibe. I'm a PR person, so shout out to my media public relations. It's my LLC.
Whoa.
Oh, well, I'm Desmond Foster Carter. You can follow me on Instagram at trxp.ben. I'm into community work, working with my peers, mentoring, and my biggest thing is storytelling. So I want to create a platform where we could talk about these conversations, but actually show it through visual arts or whatever. So yeah, that's it for me.
So I'm Bonetta Thomas. I want to first say thank you both for, just expressing, because I do work in public health, and we are, especially in our tobacco section, trying to reach out to youth with the youth and vaping. And so for me, that was just insightful because we've been struggling trying to figure out why there's a disconnect with the epidemic and what's not happening. But I'm all for all things public health as well, and being culturally flavored.
Yes.
African queen, okay? Go ahead.
I'm Kalia, and I like rapping. I write my own music.
Okay.
And I'm interested in being a motivational speaker and telling my story and helping other people that's my age or younger, or even people that's older than me, basically motivate them to do better.
Okay.
Miles Caffey. I have a weekend called Michigan Made Weekend. Been working on that since 2012. Bringing Greeks together, entrepreneurs together to showcase what the Greeks do, and helping upcoming entrepreneurs show what they have, from clothing lines, artists, anything you need help with. I'm there for it. I coach 7th and 8th grade basketball, and I also have a podcast network called the Forecast Podcast. We just celebrated our first year. And we have 5 shows now, so yeah, shout out, you guys started us, so we appreciate you guys.
Well, this has been a great season. I just want to thank everybody at the table right now for joining. This dialogue was more than what I expected. I didn't even have to ask no questions if y'all peep. We just talked. Real dialogue, and it moved. Y'all actually hit all the questions. When y'all leave, go back and look. But before I get out of here, I want to send a whole PSA, because I feel like this is something that's important. A lot of times we come together, we talk, but we don't put no action behind it. And PoliticKen is about action. And so before I get out of here, I'm tasking all the millennials in the city to become more unified this year. Strategic, together. However, we cannot continue to tell our every move. Okay? When Martin Luther King Jr. boycotted,
Come on. Speak about it.
they didn't go to social media and tell social media what they was doing. I mean, it's probably because social media wasn't around. But what they did was they organized. And so I'm also putting onus on myself. I will be personally reaching out to multiple folks this year, this fall specifically. It's time to put our actions where our mouths are and make something shake, okay?
Period.
So it's a new school year, and PoliticKen is going to be on the ground rocking and rolling, okay? It's been a great season full of dialogue that can help shift the culture in so many ways, with so many of us sitting at tables that matter. I mean, from the city realm to the education realm to nonprofit, business, finance. We are sitting in places and spaces that matter, and we need to start coming together right now. And so with that, we have an obligation to make things a little bit easier for this next generation. I don't feel like they should be starting from scratch. We have the resources. We have the opportunity to really pour into them and allow them to see their greatness. And so with that, continue to like and share PoliticKen. I will be doing like little, topics and themes throughout the fall. Just because the season is gone don't mean we not working. And so if you haven't already though, check out my EP. I just dropped the EP for my birthday, Critically Thinking. It's available on all music.
Red.
Okay, Detroit Red is available. It's available on all music platforms, man. Really tap in. And as y'all know, I love feedback. Also, be on the lookout. I'll be doing a kinship fundraiser this fall to kind of like melt a lot of the things that I have going on. If you don't know, I do have 2 brands. It's PoliticKen as well as Kentertainment. And so really just trying to use my platform to bring awareness. But please be on the lookout for a fundraiser. And understand that this movement, it don't stop. Until then, though, next season, thank y'all for joining. We out.
I know, right?